In this video, I'm going to explain to you guys 7 things no one told me about Tokyo, Japan. And believe it or not, although this place is very popular, a city where many foreigners work and live, there's a lot of information about Tokyo. There are some things that caught me off guard when I arrived, and I'm going to share them with you all. Now, if you're someone who wants to be surprised, you want to be caught off guard, then don't watch this video. But if you like to be better prepared when you get to a country, this video is for you. But with all that being said, let's go ahead and get into the video. The first one on the list is the fact that you're going to need cash in this city, at least if you're going to move around a certain way. And here's what I mean. Tokyo, and I'm sure Japan as a whole, is a mix of ancient and modern. I would say out of all the cities I've been to, this one has the best mix of old and new, traditional and modern. It's very beautiful. Don't be surprised if you go to a modern place and they say, hey, cash is required here. Or you go to an old, traditional, ancient establishment and you can order from tablets, modern vending machines, stuff like that. But cash is required if you're going to travel a certain way, meaning, for example, taking the metro. I believe there are 2 ways to use the metro. One, using a refillable card, or paying with cash. Also, if you plan to eat at some of the more traditional, older mom and pop shops, some of the food stalls along the strip, the vending machines out on the street, which are lifesavers. The most times I've ever gone to a vending machine has been in Japan. Certain attractions, I believe, only accept cash. So just all in all, yes, many places accept cards, Apple Pay, other payment apps. But as I stated earlier, there are still some places holding on to those old ways, meaning physical currencies. Next up on the list was an experience that was a little frightening for me. When I first got to Japan, went to my Airbnb, I got settled in and I was relaxing on the bed. All of a sudden, it felt like the room was going back and forth, was shaking a little bit. But I was thinking to myself, maybe it's vertigo, maybe it's me. And I realized, no, it's not. The building is shaking a little bit. And I was like, oh man, well, it is a windy day. The winds are strong here. Maybe that's it. The next day, around the same time, I was relaxing in bed. Yes, I was being lazy. Don't judge me. I noticed that the room was going back and forth again. It was shaking. And that's when I realized, oh man, I think this is an earthquake. But it wasn't that bad. It wasn't super strong and it didn't last that long. But then the day following that one, so this is the 3rd day, it happened again. This is when I decided to look up online about earthquakes in Japan and realize that Japan has over, I think, 1,500 earthquakes a year. Now, that being said, most of the earthquakes are supposed to be tremors or smaller in scale. So you're not going to really feel most of them unless, again, you're just chilling in bed, relaxing. And like if you're out and about doing stuff, you probably won't notice. But I'm bringing that up because I noticed. I'm moving to the next point on the list. And this is one I've spoken about before, and especially in my South Korea videos. And that's the fact that tipping here in Japan and just East Asia in general isn't customary. It's not common. And this point is mainly for all my fellow Americans listening. I know everyone outside of the US are like, why are you telling us this? We don't pay more than what's required. And if that's you, I get it. I understand. This section is for those watching from the US. But the point I was trying to make is that normally when you get to a place, the staff members, the waiters understand that no matter what they do, they're going to get paid the same. Usually they do the bare minimum. They don't go above and beyond. And vice versa, places where staff members know that the better service they get, the better tip they'll get, usually they'll perform a little better, at least in theory. But I will say, being in Tokyo, a place where tipping is not part of the culture, the service has still been great. Most of the establishments I've been to, the waiters, the staff members have been respectful, polite. And this is not to say that it's like this everywhere. I'm sure somebody watching this has had multiple negative experiences with staff members and restaurants. Service in general here in Japan. But overall, from my time being here, it's been great. Next up is the vibe in Tokyo. Now, the contrast between this city during the day versus at night is crazy in my opinion. During the day, it seems super structured and people are just going to work, doing their thing. No one's really bothering anyone. I think that's part of the culture, kind of just mind your own business and don't bother anyone else. They won't bother you sort of thing. I could be wrong. I don't know. But either way, just during the day, it just seems like people are in their own world and focused on creating PlayStations, Toyotas, high-speed trains, just focused on building and creating things and just going to work in their careers. But at night, it's a different world. The people seem more open, sociable. During the day, the city is super quiet. Not many people are honking or talking loudly. At night, people are laughing, partying, telling jokes. And just overall, the vibe is sort of like I said, work hard, play hard. People work hard during the day and they party hard at night. I'm sure some of that is caused by the sake that people drink here, is a Japanese liquor. If you're only in town for a day, try to experience both worlds. Next up are the expenses. Now, before coming here, I thought the prices will be like Switzerland, Dubai, just outrageous. Because Japan is a rich country, especially Tokyo, if you're talking about population, said to be the largest city in the world. I was thinking to myself, oh, this place is going to be super expensive. However, when I got here, it wasn't as bad as I expected. Now, here's the thing. Just like any place you go to, major expenses, the flight, and then the accommodation. See, that's what you have to get past. The accommodations in Japan, at least when it comes to third-party sites, are pretty expensive. For example, on Airbnb, at least the time I went, which was peak season, hostel beds were going for around, not that I wanted to stay at a hostel, but just as an example, hostel beds were going for around $1,000 for a month. Basically, if you want to sleep with 3, 6, 10 other people, you have to pay $1,000 a month. So I'm sure traveling in the off season or shoulder season would be a lot more affordable. But if you can just get past the accommodation, the prices in this city aren't that bad. You have the whole range here. If you want fine dining, 5-star Michelin spots, you want mid-tier spots, if you want more affordable local mom and pop shops, which are my favorite, they have everything. And one thing I like is that when you go to a place that's more affordable, you're still getting quality. It's not like you're going to some rundown spot eating mystery meat. For example, my favorite meal is the teishoku, which are the set meals in Japan. And they average out to around $8. One time I spent around $14, but that's just because I ordered an extra salmon. But $8 is usually the range. When it comes to the attractions, many of them are free. And if they're not free, they're very affordable. The metro, which takes you anywhere and everywhere in the city, it's like $1.50. Now, I will say this, Ubers are pretty expensive there, but public transportation, super affordable, just like most countries in the world. So again, your trip to Japan won't be as expensive as you think. But just one disclaimer, let me go ahead and say that I don't know if this is because of the exchange rate. I'm using US dollars, so maybe that was why. Or if Tokyo has always been like this. And last but not least, I'm going to touch on the Japanese women. Let me go ahead and say that I've not been to every Asian country. Most of the Asian countries I've been to have been on the eastern side, meaning East and Southeast Asia. And from all those countries that I've been to so far, I would say I would have to give it to Japanese women. Now, a few disclaimers. One of them is that from what I understand, Japan has many big like makeup companies for people who are going to say, well, they look like that because of all the stuff they put on their face. Yes, I get it. That's disclaimer number one. Disclaimer number two is, from what I understand, plastic surgery is a big thing here. However, I don't think that's a good enough argument. The reason why is because I've been to other countries where cosmetic surgery was huge. I don't think people would say, oh, those women are unattractive. For example, Colombia. I've never been to Venezuela, but Venezuelan women are very known for being, highly attractive. But they have a ton of plastic surgery as well. My thing is that it can be the opposite. Plastic surgery could be popular in the country because the beauty standards are so high. If you're an attractive woman and you're surrounded by a ton of attractive women, how do you separate yourself? You're like, man, I gotta get plastic surgery. I gotta go to the doctor. So again, I just don't think it's just that. That being said, someone may ask, well, Sly, what are you basing this off of? I'm glad you asked that. I have a rating system, meaning if I look once, 1 point. If I look twice, a double take, that's 3 points. If I look twice, but then I do the exorcist, meaning I turned my head in a 180 degree, that's 10.4 points. Okay. Don't ask me about the pointing system. It works. And so the point I'm trying to make is I had the most looks in Japan. And I'm going to be honest, there are some countries I've been to that are really hyped up. And for me, I was like, I don't see the hype. I see the hype as far as intercourse is cheaper and readily available in some of these countries. But as far as like my head turning, I didn't really do it that much in some of these other countries. I won't name them. I don't want any problems because I plan to go back there to those places. But again, so that's my rating system. The most head turns were in Japan. But anyways, I'm going to go ahead and end the video. This has been some of the things that no one has told me before I got to Japan. As I stated earlier, I want to share those with you all. But with all that being said, I appreciate you guys watching the video. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you liked it. And I'm going to catch you guys at the next one. Deuces.